Erling Haaland's story doesn't begin with noise, hype, or headlines. It begins with structure, with intention, with design. Born in Leeds, England, while his father, Erling Haaland, was playing in the Premier League, Erling entered a world where professional football wasn't a dream, it was a reference point. From an early age, he understood the demands of elite sport, not through stories, but through daily routine. When the family returned to Norway, that foundation only grew stronger. Discipline was constant, training was deliberate, recovery mattered as much as effort. Haaland was raised in an environment where physical preparation, nutrition, and mental focus were treated seriously long before they became trends in modern football. This wasn't luck, this was planning. Unlike many young talents praised for creativity or flair, Haaland's game was built around clarity. Even as a child, his objective was simple: score. No wasted touches, no unnecessary movement. His football identity formed early: direct, ruthless, efficient. Coaches noticed something unusual. He didn't chase the ball, he waited for it. He understood space instinctively. Physically, Haaland was exceptional, but not just because of size. He combined height, strength, and explosive speed with coordination rarely seen in players of his build. His sprint mechanics were clean, his acceleration was violent. Yet he moved economically, conserving energy. Every run had purpose. Every movement was calculated. As he progressed through youth football in Norway, the numbers became impossible to ignore. Goals arrived in sequences. Hat-tricks felt routine. Defenders struggled, not because Haaland overwhelmed them with tricks, but because he overwhelmed them with timing. He attacked the blind side. He anticipated crosses. He arrived early, or not at all. What truly separated Haaland even then was mentality. He didn't celebrate excessively. He didn't demand attention. He behaved like scoring was expected, not exceptional. This mindset created consistency. Where others fluctuated with confidence, Haaland remained stable, focused, unmoved. The football world truly took notice during the 2019 FIFA U20 World Cup, when Haaland scored 9 goals in a single match against Honduras. It was a record-breaking performance that went viral instantly. But what shocked observers most wasn't the number, it was the execution. No unnecessary touches, no wasted movement, just repeated finishing from different angles with both feet under pressure. That match didn't change Haaland's trajectory. It confirmed it. Behind the scenes, his preparation bordered on obsessive. Sleep routines, nutrition plans, recovery protocols, visualization. He treated his body as a tool that needed maintenance and optimization. Long before the spotlight arrived, Haaland was already operating like a professional. By the time he reached senior football, the blueprint was complete. He wasn't adapting to the game was adapting to him. Every system he entered would soon revolve around the same truth. Give him space, and he will convert it into goals. When Erling Haaland arrived at Red Bull Salzburg, football stopped guessing and started measuring. This was no longer about potential, it was about application. Salzburg offered the ideal environment: high tempo, vertical football, aggressive pressing, and constant movement toward goal. For a striker built to attack space, it was a laboratory. Haaland didn't need time to adapt, he needed space, and Salzburg created it. In his very first Champions League campaign, he announced himself with authority, scoring 8 goals in 6 matches. He became the first teenager in history to score in 5 consecutive Champions League games, delivering goals against Europe's elite with the same calm he showed in youth football. No hesitation, no adjustment, just execution. What defines Haaland's scoring is not technique alone, but economy. He rarely takes unnecessary touches. His first movement is almost always decisive. While defenders react, Haaland arrives. His finishing repertoire is brutally efficient. Powerful strikes with either foot, first-time finishes, controlled placements, and instinctive rebounds. He doesn't decorate goals, he completes them. The secret lies in his movement. Haaland positions himself between defenders, never flat, always angled. He constantly checks shoulders, reading defensive lines before they shift. His runs are vertical, aggressive, and timed to perfection. He attacks the blind side, forcing defenders to turn a fatal delay at elite speed. When Borussia Dortmund signed him in January 2020, the scale increased, and so did the numbers. In the Bundesliga, Haaland's impact was immediate. He scored a hat-trick on his league debut, setting the tone for what would follow. Across 67 Bundesliga matches, he scored 62 goals, averaging a goal every 87 minutes across all competitions. These were not inflated statistics, they were consistent outcomes. Dortmund's system gave him freedom, but Haaland provided inevitability. Matches didn't ask if he would score, only when. He delivered in derbies, title races, and Champions League knockout rounds. Against the best defenders in Europe, his efficiency didn't drop, it sharpened. Physically, Haaland became a nightmare matchup, too strong to be bullied, too fast to be contained, too focused to be distracted. Defenders faced impossible decisions: step out and risk being beaten, or stay back and allow space behind. Either way, Haaland exploited it. Mentally, he remained unchanged. No celebrations driven by ego. No visible panic after missed chances. He reset instantly. Miss, move, finish, repeat. This emotional neutrality is rare and lethal. By the time his Dortmund chapter ended, Haaland had already established a pattern that followed him everywhere. Systems adjusted around him, not the other way around. He didn't require freedom, he required clarity. And with clarity, goals followed. When Erling Haaland arrived at Manchester City, the question was not about talent. That debate had already been settled. The real question was structural. Could the most controlled system in modern football integrate the most direct striker of his generation? Pep Guardiola's teams were defined by possession, patience, and positional discipline. Haaland represented speed, power, and immediacy. On paper, it looked like a contradiction. In reality, it became an evolution. From his very first matches in the Premier League, Haaland shattered doubts. Defenders were overwhelmed not by complexity, but by inevitability. He scored goals early, often, and without warning. In his debut season, Haaland finished with 52 goals in all competitions, including a record-breaking 36 Premier League goals, surpassing a mark that had stood for decades. What made this achievement extraordinary was not just volume, but efficiency. Haaland required fewer touches per goal than any elite striker in Europe. While Manchester City dominated possession, Haaland operated with patience. He didn't demand the ball constantly, he waited. One opening was enough. For years, City had controlled matches but lacked a pure finisher. Haaland became the final piece of Guardiola's puzzle. Midfielders manipulated space, wingers stretched defenses. And when the defensive line cracked, Haaland attacked the gap with devastating speed. The system no longer needed perfection, it needed timing. Hat-tricks arrived with alarming regularity. Big matches produced big moments. Haaland delivered against top 6 rivals, Champions League contenders, and title challengers. He didn't disappear in high-pressure games, he amplified them. Critics labeled him too simple. The numbers answered without emotion. In the Champions League, Haaland elevated his output even further. He finished as the competition's top scorer, delivering decisive goals throughout the knockout stages. His presence alone altered defensive strategies. Teams dropped deeper, lines compacted, space opened elsewhere. Manchester City became more dangerous because Haaland demanded attention. The season ended with history. City secured the Premier League, FA Cup, and UEFA Champions League, completing a historic treble. Haaland collected the Premier League Golden Boot, the European Golden Shoe, and individual awards that confirmed his dominance. Yet his reaction remained unchanged. No excess, no distraction, just focus. What stood out most was his adaptability. In tight matches, he accepted fewer touches. In open games, he attacked relentlessly. He adjusted without ego, he understood the system, and allowed it to amplify him. Haaland didn't disrupt Guardiola's football. He completed it. The machine had entered the perfect system, and football had no answer. Erling Haaland is still young, yet his career already feels complete in structure. What most players chase for decades, he began collecting before his prime. League titles, individual awards, European dominance. But the most unsettling part of Haaland's story is not what he has achieved. It is how unfinished it still feels. At an age where many strikers are still refining their instincts, Haaland has already rewritten record books. He has scored over 250 senior career goals before his mid-20s, maintained a goal-per-game ratio in multiple leagues, and dominated competitions known for breaking strikers, not creating them. Bundesliga, Premier League, Champions League, different system, same outcome. goals. Yet Haaland's evolution is ongoing. His movement has become more economical, his decision-making sharper, his link-up play more deliberate. He no longer relies solely on physical dominance. He reads defenders. He anticipates mistakes. He arrives before danger is visible. This is the most dangerous phase of any great striker, when power meets intelligence. There is also a growing sense of legacy. Comparisons are no longer speculative. Haaland is measured against the greatest finishers the game has known. Ronaldo Nazário's explosiveness, Lewandowski's efficiency, Cristiano Ronaldo's longevity. What separates Haaland is not style. It is inevitability. Defenders know what is coming. They simply cannot stop it. International football adds another layer. Representing Norway, Haaland carries a nation's ambition on his shoulders. Without a traditional powerhouse around him, every goal feels heavier. Every run feels more symbolic. He is not just a striker for Norway, he is the system. And despite limited tournament exposure, his scoring record at international level remains relentless. The future presents possibilities rather than limits. More Champions League titles, more golden boots, potential Ballon d'Or campaigns. Statistical milestones once thought unreachable now appear realistic. And through it all, Haaland remains unchanged. Minimal words, maximum output. Football often romanticizes artistry, but it also respects dominance. And Haaland represents a rare truth. Beauty can exist in efficiency, in repetition, in inevitability. This is not a player chasing history. This is history unfolding in real time. And if you want more stories like this, deep dives into the players, moments, and forces that shape football beyond the headlines, this is exactly what Untold Football is about. If you enjoyed this journey into Erling Haaland's rise, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and become part of a community that explores football where numbers meet narrative. Because some players are exciting, some are legendary, and some are inevitable.